this is Chris. Hope you're doing well, and welcome to Popcorn Finance, the show where we discuss finance and about the time it takes to make a bag of popcorn. So as many of you know, student loans have been a topic of interest for really millions of people for many, many years now at this point. But student loans have really gained even more interest with the possibility of there being some type of student loan forgiveness coming around the corner. So I joined Kelvin Washington over at KFI AM 640 to discuss one of the latest rounds of student loan forgiveness.
Now it's time for some business news. You got school loans being canceled out. You have your respect your partner's money boundaries. We're going to get to all of that right now with Chris Browning, financial analyst and host of the Popcorn Finance Podcast, joining us via Skype. Chris, good morning. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I appreciate it. So when people hear that Biden has canceled so far around 8.7 nearly $9 billion of student loans, they get excited, right? They say, hey, because this is one of those things that, what do you do when you're running for an elected? You say, I'm going to cut taxes, I'm going to eliminate school debt. You kind of run down the greatest hits of things you're going to do when you become some state official, of course, the president. He's been able to do that, and now some new ones for those with disabilities. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, the student loan situation has been something we've been talked about so often because, so many people have student loan debt right now. It feels like you can't walk down the street without finding someone who's still making payments.
Like you're looking at me, Chris. I feel like you're looking at me.
Right. So people are still trying to figure out what's going to happen. Is he going to forgive student loans? And so they've been doing very targeted student loan forgiveness. In this most recent round, it forgave they expected to forgive about $5.8 billion for about 320,000 borrowers. And this is specifically targeted at those who are considered total and permanently disabled. And the good thing about this program is that it can be automatically applied because they're already working with the Social Security Administration and the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs to kind of go in there and see who already is listed and categorized as someone who is total and permanently disabled.
So tell us more about why kind of that distinction, because again, we've heard officials, I'm not saying necessarily just Biden, but over the years, as you mentioned, this is always a hot button topic. And everybody gets excited, right? Whether you are able, disabled, whether you graduated 2 years ago or 20 years ago, folks get excited about hearing about cancellation of student debt. So why such a smaller demographic, a specific demographic?
Well, this is the second specific demographic they've targeted. So they already forgave about $1.5 billion for student loan debt for those who fall under this defensive repayment rule. And this was a regulation that began under the Obama administration that allowed student loans to be canceled if you were misled or defrauded or basically scammed by your college or university. Because there are schools that are very predatory and they've gotten people to take out huge amount of loans for an education that they didn't really get. So this is the second group they've targeted, and it seems like this is the way they're kind of approaching it. They haven't made any statement as to if they're doing any broader type of student loan forgiveness, but I think they're trying to address the groups that have been most severely affected. So first, those who have been kind of misled by their schools, and then now this group of people who, if you're completely disabled, your opportunity to work is basically gone at this point.
When you're talking about these loans, and obviously we mentioned the kind of the specific groups, at some point, do those folks who just took back, like maybe their loan wasn't the best of loans, maybe it wasn't the best when it comes to interest rates, but it wasn't predatory. They did not prey upon you. Can those people just kind of just get to the point where they need to realize, hey, we're going to have to just pay our loans back?
That's the tough part right now. I wouldn't tell anyone to wait and expect that their loans will be forgiven because it's just unknown right now. We don't know if there will actually be any type of broad student loan forgiveness. So I wouldn't plan based off of that information. But I think the case is college has just become so expensive.
You have not lied about that.
It's grown exponentially. And it's gotten to a point where if you want to have like a regular job, but you still need a college degree for it, you have to make that judgment call. It's like, well, this degree is going to cost, 4 times what I actually would end up making. Is that a worthwhile expense? And I think probably the bigger issue that needs to be addressed is why are school costs growing so quickly and what can be done to get those under control so that way people don't have these student loans that are ridiculous compared to what they're making. Big thanks to Kelvin Washington over on KFI AM 640 out here in Southern California for chatting with me. And if you're not in the area, you can go check out the show over on the iHeartRadio app. And as always, if you have a question, you can reach out to me over on Instagram. You can find me at Popcorn Finance Podcast. And also, I've been working on more video content over on YouTube. So you can just search for Popcorn Finance or click the link in the show notes. I just put out a video about stopping those annoying credit card offers that show up in the mail. And I plan to keep putting out more content, hopefully on a more regular basis. So make sure you go over there and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. As always, I appreciate you joining me here for another bag of popcorn. Hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and I'll talk to you soon.
Your boy keep it poppin' like Mary Poppins.